Hello, this video is for IXL Activity 8.F.16. It is titled Estimate Positive Square Roots, and the 3-character code for this activity is X-Ray Whiskey Juliet. Alright, in this activity, we're not going to be working with perfect squares like we have in a previous activity. Instead, if we took the square root of our radicand in all of the questions in this activity, we would get a decimal number. For instance, let's go ahead and grab a calculator, and we'll take the square root of 26. Let's go ahead and clear the calculator out here, and let's do square root. So we'll hit that second key and select the X squared key because the square root sign is above that in blue. That's why we use the second key. And we're going to enter in 26, and then we'll go ahead and hit enter. And as you can see, it produces a decimal number of 5.099019514, and this would be a irrational number. A little bit of bonus there. Anytime you take the square root of a square that's not a perfect square, you're going to get an irrational number. So we see that it is greater than 5 but less than 6. So let's go ahead and use that information here. And we see right here is our selection of between 5 and 6. Well, you could use a calculator to do all of these to find that, but it's also good to know how to do it without a calculator. So we'll go ahead and take a look at how would you do that. So let's use a number line here, and we're going to have two numbers here, and we're going to consider the square root of 26. So in this case, the square root of 26 is going to fall somewhere between these two numbers here. Now, let's think about what's the next perfect square that's less than 26. Well, 5 times 5 is 25, so the square root of 25 would be 5. And the next perfect square that's greater than 26 is going to be the square root of 36, because 36 is the next perfect square after the 25, right? And the square root of 36 is 6. So the square root of 26 is going to come somewhere in between these two. Now, since 26 is just one more than 25, I know that it's going to go just a little bit after 5 right here. So if we think about the decimal portions between 5 and 6, this would be like 0.5. Right here would be 0.25. And this would be like maybe 0.2. And this would be like maybe 0.1. So remember we had, what was it, 5.09, so it's almost 5.1, so that makes sense that it would land right about there, right after 5 on the number line, so about 5.1. And that's pretty much about what we got whenever we used a calculator. So that's about the best way of doing that, and we'll do that quite a few times here. Next one says complete the following statement. Use the integers that are closest to the number in the middle. So integers are non-decimal numbers. They can be positive, or they can be negative. Well, we're looking for the positive integers in this case. Well, also because we're using positive square roots here. There's not a negative sign in front of it, so our number is going to be positive. So what's the next perfect square that is below 87? Well, that would be the square root of 81. And 9 times 9 is 81, so square root of 81 is 9. And that means that this here is going to be 10, and that would be 10 times 10 is 100, so the square root of 100 is 10. Notice that 87 falls between 81 and 100. Therefore, the value of square root of 87 would be somewhere between the integers 9 and 10. The next one, which two integers is square root 86 between? And I'm just going to start saying root 86. That's kind of a short wording for it, right? So between two numbers, we're going to have the square root of 86. So what are those two numbers? Well, what's the perfect square that's below 86? Well, that would be square root 81, right? That's our 81 is a perfect square. The square root of 81 is 9. And then the next one, value up would be 10, and that would be root 100. So it falls between 9 and 10. To be exact, where it falls in between 81 to 100 is almost a jump of 20. So right in between would be the square root of about 90. And 86 is like right in between those two. So right about here at 0.3. So if you were to use a calculator and do the square root of 86, you would get about 9.3. Which number is closest to root 28? All right, well, this is where the idea of finding out where between those two numbers it would work. So let's go ahead and first create our number line and find the two numbers that it's going to fall between. And root 28. Root 28. What's the perfect square that's below 28? That's going to be 25. 25 is the next square root down, and that has a square root of 5. And the next perfect square is going to be 36, and that has a square root of 6. So 28, where does it fall between 25 and 36? Well, right now we know it's going to be 5 point something because it's in between there. So we can rule out 4, 9, and we can rule out 6, 5. It's going to be either 5.8 or 5.2. Well, 25 to 36 is a jump of 11. So that's right about, if we think half of 11, right, is like 5.5. So let's just think like maybe 5. So 25 plus 5 would be square root 30. 25 plus 5 is 30. So root 30 is going to be like right here, close to 5.5, 5.4, 7, something like that. And 28 is going to be less than it. So it's going to be down here below. So it's going to be something less than 5.5 that we have here. 5.5 would be over on this side of 5.5. So we know that 5/8 is not there. Therefore, it must be 5.2. And again, you could always use a calculator. If you have a calculator that'll do square roots, you could take square root 28, and probably without doing all this, you could find that answer. But you could also use a calculator to check your answer. All right, root 114. Which one of these numbers is closest to it? So let's set up our number line here, and we're considering root 114. Well, what about 10 times 10 is 100? Yeah, 10 times 10 is 100, so this would be root 100. And let's go to 11. 11 squared is 121. 121. Pretty sure that. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure. 11 squared. I'll turn my calculator on. 11 squared. Indeed. Yep, 121. Make sure I wasn't having a brain cramp there. All right. So this is a jump of 20, right? From, well, it's jump 21. So right about the middle here, we would find, well, halfway between 100 and 121 is going to be right about 110, right? And also we know it's going to be between 10 and 11, so we can rule out this 9 something and 11 something. We know it's going to be 10.6 or 10.1, one of the two, right? Well, 114 is greater than 110, so it's going to be over here to the right of 110. And right here is 0.5. 10, that's actually, whenever I say 0.5, this is actually like 10.5. So 114 is going to be to the right of root 110. So we know it's going to be greater than 10.5. So we can rule out 10.1. Therefore, it must be 10.6. Here's another one here. Let's see, root 138. Let's consider two numbers. Where would that fall? So let's go root 138. And 11 was 121, right? 121. And, oh, root 121. And the next number, next integer going up would be 12. And 12 times 12 is 144. So does 138 fall between 121 and 144? Indeed it does. So the question is, where does it fall? Well, 138 is going to come like right here, probably just before it. Right? 121 to 144 is a jump of 23, so that's about 11. Half of 23 is roughly 11.5. So let's go with add 11 to that, 121, 131, 132. So this is going to be like root 132 right about here. So we know root 138 is going to be to the right of it. Oh, I'm going through all this. I'm looking for a decimal number. So we know it's somewhere between 11 and 12. So it's right there. All right. But to be exact, 132 to 44 is a jump of about 12. So halfway through would be 6. That would be like root 138 would fall right there. So this would be 0.75. So the square root of 138, just estimated, should be about 1.75. Here, just for fun, let's take the calculator there and check that. Root 138. Square root 138. So second key, root 138. And I'm guessing it's going to be about 11.75. Yep, 11.747 rounded up to 75. Pretty good, Mr. T. Outstanding. All right. Which number is closest to root 281? Wow, they're getting up there a little ways. So at this point, many people just break out a calculator. So let's see, where would that fall between? Okay, root 281. 281. I think 15 times 15, I think is it 225? 15 by 15. Pretend I don't have a calculator. 5 and carry the 2, 7 and 15, 5, 12, carry the 1, 2. Yeah, 225. So 15 by 15. So 15 squared equals 225. Let's go with 16 squared. 6 times 6 is 36. Is that going to work? Let's see. 16 times 16. 6 times 6 is 36. Carry the 3. 6, 9, 16. 6, 5, 1, 256. Oh, it's going to be 16 right here. 256. Then I get to 281. Watch. 17. If I square 17. 17 by 17, 7 times 7 is 49, carry the 4, 7, 10, 11, 17, 9, 8, 2, 289, right? So root 289 is a perfect square, and its root is 17, and then 16 is 256, 256, root 256 to be exact. All right, so where does 281 fit? Well, it looks like it's going to fit someplace down here. And let's go ahead and rule out some answers that we know are not correct. It's somewhere between 16 and 17. So we can rule out the 15 here, and all the others are 16. Okay, so let's look and see. It looks like it's pretty doggone close down to this end over here. And 6.1 and 6.2 are going to be like over here. So I could probably rule out 6.1 and 6.2 just to be sure. 256 to 289 is a jump of 33. So halfway between halfway between 0.5 is going to be like 16. Right? So 256 plus 16, 56, 66, 72. So that's going to be like root 272. I'm just finding that gap there and then doing the math to see about what would be the middle. What number would be between 256 and 289. So I still have to go 281, 72, 72 to 89 is a jump of 10, 17, 17, right? 17, half 17, let's call it 8. So right in between here, add 8 to that, I would end up with root 280. So right here we 0.75. So 280 would fall right about at 16.75. And we're talking about 281. So we can see indeed it's roughly about 16.7. All right. And the next one, we're just looking for the integers that root 348 falls between. Let's see if some of our math before would help. We know that 17 gets us to 289, right? So 17 squared equals 289. We need to get to 348. And let me see. Ooh, 9 times 9 is 18, right? So let's try 19 squared. See where I'm taking the 9 here. 9 times 9 is 18, so I know it's going to be 8 in the ones place. So let's go do 19 squared. 9 times 9 is 81. Oh, I was thinking adding 9s together, correct? And we're really messing up now. 9 times 9 is 81. Carry the 8. 9 plus 1 is 7. And throw the 19 on there. 1, 6. Am I carrying 1? Yep, I am. 361 equals 361. Okay. So, okay, good. I'm actually going to be too high on this one, right? 361. Bet you this is 19 here. Let's see, 18. Let's do 18 squared equals 18 squared. Where we want to do that? Let's do that over here. 18 times 18. 8 times 8 is 64. Carry the 6. 8, 10, 14, and 18 here, and 4, 12, 1, 3, 324. 324. So we're looking for root 48, right? So 340, so 19. So see, well, I guess what I'm saying is right in between these two values is where 348 falls, right? So if the square root of 324 is 18 and the square root of 361 is 19, then that means that the square root of 348 is going to fall somewhere between 18 and 19. All right, last question. Which two integers is 249 between? Gee, let's see. Can we go back? Did we do 249 yet? 17 squared is 289. All right, 17. Have we done 16 squared? 256. 256 and 289. 256, 289, and that was 16 squared. And this was 17 squared. So we're still too high at 256, aren't we? We need to go back to, let's try 15 squared. And I believe that was 225, right? 15 squared? Yep, 225. Indeed it is. So that's going to be 225. So 249 is going to be right in between these, right? 249 is going to be right in between 225 and 256. So in that case, it's somewhere between 15 and 16, which we have right here. All right. So those are all of my examples for IXL activity 8.F.16, estimate positive square roots. Good luck with your activity.